everybody. I am getting ready to do a little bit of fishing here over the next couple weeks, and I was just kind of in the garage putting some stuff together, and I thought it would be a good time to show you what I was up to because I'm getting ready to do a little bit of bobber dogging, and I'm going through the bobber dogging box that I usually take out to the coast with me. And so I was going to show you what's in my box, how I make some of the things in it, and how some of the old things that I used to use are evolving into new things. Thought it'd be fun for you to watch. So if you're just kind of tuning in, I'm showing you my bobber dogging box, and this is a great time to ask questions about bobber dogging or any part of this process that I use. But just to kind of show you where I'm at, I'm in the garage, but not just in the garage. But it looks like you're in a boat. That's because I'm in a boat. I mean, I don't know. What's more exciting than getting ready, like sitting in your boat? I got my dog here. Ole, where'd you go? I drag him into the boat sometimes, and he doesn't really like it, and so he's probably avoiding me. Kylie's watching a movie on the inside. Oh, Kylie Brem just tuned in. Funny, you're in the other room. Okay, so here's what I've got going on. We're in the fishing garage. It is really, really clean and well organized, as you can see. But I cracked open my box here, and here's a little bit of what I've got going on. So when I bobber dog, I used to use these, and so I'd buy a whole bunch of these. I would cut the stem off, cut them off halfway, and I cannot even begin to recall how long I've had these. Like, this one has been in my box for probably a couple years. Like, the paints wore off. Just the way that I set these up, I don't really lose a lot of them, and so I usually have them for a long time. They look beat up, but they still work really, really well. And this was all fine, but sometimes the problem is after a lot of use is like the middle part would start popping out. And so here's how this has evolved for me. So this is when I was first getting into bobber dogging and cutting up my own bobbers. Now I have these. So Bomac makes exactly what I need, which is pretty awesome. So I don't have to cut them anymore. They're already cut. I can just buy these babies. I use these for Chinook and Steelhead. This is the large size bobber dogging float. And again, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and ask. I've got a live feed going so I can see what you guys are chatting up. Hello to Brandon. I noticed that you said hello. Hello back. So here's what happened when I opened my box, and here's why I decided to make the video. So I have some of my components here, and I'm showing you guys as it is. There's no prep that's been done here. I just cracked open my box after, most of the season's already gone by, and I'm showing you what I've got. So I've got some bobber dogging ties. I've got my snap swivels set up here. I've got my bobbers, and I noticed that I'm starting to get low on these. So this is part of my arsenal of bobber dogging. I make these stick weights, and I make 3 different sizes. I make this size, this larger one here. I'm going to try to stop moving around for you. I make this middle size one. So I have big. Here, we'll set it down in the boat. I have large. I have a medium, and I have a small. So these are the sizes I use, and depending on how fast my water is moving, how deep we're going, how much weight I need, I can quickly pop off a weight, pop on a heavier one, and go. And so I need a little bit of each type of weight, and I decide which type I want to use based off of the type of rivers that I usually fish, and so that's what these are set up for. So I'm running low on my medium size, so I'm going to make some of those medium-sized stick weights, so I'm going to show you how I do that. The first thing hey Brandon, how's it going? I see you there, hi! So the first thing that you need to make these stick weights is, now this is probably going to be backward for you, but this is a Yakima bait spinner shaft wire. I buy a pack of these. I buy, I think this is 1/8" hollow core lead. I buy a roll of that. I use electrical tape. What else do I use? Oh yeah, you need these, are really important. Scissors, and then cutters. This is so easy to make. You can totally do this. So here's what I usually do, is I have my spinner shaft here. And let me set this up so you can actually watch me do one, and then you'll be able to, figured you should learn from the pro. Yes, take it all in. So let's see if this is gonna work okay. Yeah, so this way you can kind of watch me do this. So I have my spinner shaft, and I have the size that I already want cut out, and I use this medium size that I usually like to fish with as a guide, and I cut this to size. So I have the hollow core cut, I have the spinner shaft, and what I'm gonna do is just run this through. It's nice to have it nice and straightened out. So I run it through, and on the other side here, I have a little bit of this wire sticking out. This is good. So what I'm gonna do is take this and I bend it up, and then I pinch it down after I've bent it up a little bit more than that. Bend it up a bit here, grab my little guys, pinch it down, pinch it in here, get that kind of as flat as you can. So here's what I've got. Now you can use this, but this can kind of get hung up on stuff over time, or kind of poke out. And so that is why I want, and you're looking at the bottom of my new Clackacraft drift boat. I haven't got to take it out much this season, and so so I'm just sitting in it making stuff because it makes me feel happy. You should use heat shrink. Yeah, I've heard of a lot of people using heat shrink, and that is such a great way to go. Almost everyone that I show this to that has also done this is like, oh, you got to try the heat shrink thing. Totally am going to try the heat shrink thing as soon as I run out of all this electrical tape. So yes, very good. I like it. There are more than one ways to skin the cat. And so I just use a little bit of that, press it, and I roll it around. And done, dealt with. I have the stick weight, Vun stick weight. 'Tis complete. And so into the box it goes, and that's pretty much my process. Now again, the stick weight thing, if you're just coming into this, the stick weight thing is really helpful in bobber dogging because it's easy to just snap those things in and snap those things out. And then Tony Nelson, you can use heat shrink. Yay! Yes, you're totally right. You can use heat shrink. And I think someone, I was at the sports show and someone was telling me a little bit about that process, but you literally just slip a little piece on, hit it with some heat, and you're done. And it's super easy. So that's a great way to go. I like the electrical tape thing because, I don't know, it's what I've been doing. It's worked out for me. I haven't had any issue with it. Again, like I said, more than one way to skin the cat. But back into the box, I'm going to show you what I have, and I'm going to show you why I have it here. So I'm going to flip around again. I'm going to try not to make you sick. Patrick, I'm glad this is super helpful. This is what I like to do, is play with bobbers. So I have the bobbers here. Let me just take these out and go through the stuff. So I've talked a little bit about, sorry, I'm sitting in the back of the boat. And if I like jump around, it'll tip. So I'm going to try not to do that again. So take my little floats out here, and it's kind of a mess because I actually use this and it gets dirty and wet, and like it's certainly been used. But I keep these bobber stops because when I run my float up on my line, I use braided line, and I put a bobber stop above, obviously, to stop the float, and I also put one underneath the bobber stop because if I get hung up and I lose something, and for some reason I lose the weight and in my swivel or whatever, the second bobber stop underneath the float will kind of keep you from losing the float. And I don't know about you, maybe it's just me, I hate losing floats. Like, I will send somebody with a net down to the tail out of that run and and go get that thing. I just don't like I don't like losing them. So somebody asks, do you weigh the sticks out to get an idea of what they weigh in length? You know, I don't. And let me tell you why. I think the first time I did it, I compared it to like a 1/2 ounce weight or something like that, and knew that I wanted something that was a little bit more than that. And so I just kind of cut one that was a little bit more, and I fish with it. And sometimes it fishes just right, or when the river drops and the water gets a little bit lower, then I can just switch down to my smaller weight. And if, you know, you're getting lower and slower, you can use an even smaller weight. And so I don't know exactly what all of these weigh, but there's certainly a benefit, I think, to weighing those out and knowing, like, I have, you know, a ½ ounce, 3/4 ounce, or what have you. I think there's a benefit to knowing that. I just kind of know my river systems, and I know that when I'm at a certain river level, this is the one I want to use, and that just kind of comes from experience. So that's a really good question, John. Thanks. I'm going to try not to fall out of the boat. You can get these floats at Sportco. I'm trying to think of other places in your area. I feel like Sportsman Warehouse carries them. I feel like I see them all over the place. Okay, so anyways, back to taking the floats out here. So I use the bobber stop above and below the float. I don't like losing floats. It's just a thing. I can't explain it. And then I use these snap swivels, and so my braid goes to this side on the top, and then the mono to my bait presentation goes from here down, and this is where I'm snapping on my stick weight. So easy on, easy off. Piece of cake, right? And then I have the cut float here. And the idea of the cut float is that when you are, you know, you're casting out and you're floating along, that this is going to kind of tilt on its side and push against the current as it's going downriver and slow your presentation down. And so here's why slowing your presentation down is important. Sometimes a quicker presentation is what fish want, that vertical straight up and down float situation with a bead or egg or shrimp or what have you underneath it, whether it's for salmon or steelhead. But there's times when your water gets colder or your fish just want something different. You can use this cut bobber to slow down. It's going to push against that current and slow your presentation down, and having more time, that presentation has more time in front of the fish, and you have sometimes a better opportunity of getting bites. I know one thing that I always keep in my back pocket is if the river starts getting really cold and you have really, really cold water, first thing I think is I need to slow down my presentation and give those lethargic, chilly fish enough time to go and get your presentation. Okay, so that's why the bobber, the dogging of the bobber is I'll say. So we have those. These little beads, like I use to, I mean, like you would use any float. I just have a whole bunch of little sizes, and I'm always looking for ones with like the really, really small hole, just to keep your bobber stop from slipping into your float, that sort of thing. I usually put them on top and on bottom, just so I get my float sliding around easy and not getting caught up on anything. But again, I kind of showed this at the beginning of the video. This is the bobber dogging float that I used to make. And I would buy a big pack of these, and they're usually like almost twice as long, and I would cut them in half. And so they would push against the water. And that's when there really wasn't an option out for cut floats for bobber dogs. You just had to cut it yourself. So that's what I used to use. And this one, for example, has been in my box forever. Like it's been in my box forever. I've used it probably a zillion and 2 times. Yeah, this one's seen some river action. But the way that I set it up with braid and using the stick weights, I think I saw some comments, but I didn't catch all of them. Some of the benefits of using the stick weight is that I don't get hung up. I don't get hung up with this. Yeah. This really just doesn't spend a lot of time getting caught on things. And then if it does, it bends very easily. You can kind of pop it out. I can probably count on 2 hands. I could probably count on 2 hands how many, well, 1 or 2 hands. Not that I haven't lost that many stick weights is what I'm trying to say. I will say the only time I lose a stick weight is if we're looking for fish in the trees. And my friends, are there ever fish in the trees? No, that's just how you lose your stick weights. That's pretty much it. And so that's fantastic. But anyways, I used to make these back in the day, in the beginning, and now I can buy them like this, which is really nice. And the biggest benefit to me is when I was making them, you had to like glue the insides back, otherwise this would kind of like run out after some time. And this is just like, this is dialed in and ready. Boom. I used a large size. I'm floating and fishing Olympic Peninsula rivers. But yeah, so that's a little bit about my bobber dogging box and what I've got going on. If you have any questions, please throw them my way. I would love to answer those for you. I'm just kind of sitting in the garage here, getting ready for some fishing in the up and coming week. I'm getting a whole bunch of rain. Yes, things are starting to get low and clear, and so I could really use it out in my area. So yeah, getting ready for fishing. I haven't been able to take the boat out. When are we taking the boat out fishing? That's so funny you should say that, Jeff. I haven't had a chance to take my new boat out very much, and so I'm just kind of sitting in it, getting ready, just thinking about when I get to take it down the river. One day soon. But just to show you the boat a little bit, and if I stand up too fast, like it'll tip over because it's like trailered in the garage right now. But this is the new Clackamax. This is going to be so much easier for me to take out, and I just got like some life jackets and some plug rods hanging out from my last trip, drying out some jigs. It's important, dry out your jigs, peeps. This is the captain's chair. This is where I will reside. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just hanging out, getting some bobber dogging ready, showing you a little bit about how I set those things up. The cool thing was the stick weights, and I use this hollow core. I think this is 1/8" hollow core. You can get whatever size fits what you're doing. And then I use these spinner shafts from Yakima Baits, Bomax bobbers. I have no idea where I got these bobber stops. Probably Bomac as well. My little beads, my stick weights. Ash, what's the leader holder? Oh, yeah. So, I got this when I was down at Clackercraft in Oregon. They sell it. I'm trying to think of who makes this. Dang it, who makes this? Hang on. It's got a say on it. Oh, yeah, it does. What does that say? I can't read it. Can you read it? Ah, that's who makes that. But it's really cool because it has a little tool thing for me and leaders, so I can just grab and go and be quick. JJ, I'm sorry. I'm trying to see that brand for you and not fall over everything or make you guys sick. Bait Buoy, www.hookumgood.com. So that's where you can get those. And then I'm just going to crawl up in the boat and show you a little bit more here. This is the view from the captain's chair. So yeah, my little leader holder here. I have a front anchor system, and I also have a rear anchor system, and a bunch of plugs and stuff on the shelf. I'm hooking it up with some Pro Lock oars. I'm pretty excited about those. But I had some friends come over a couple weeks ago, and we had dinner, and we came down here with like our glasses of wine, and we just sat in the boat and like had the rest of our evening here in the boat. I don't know, there's just something about sitting in your boat in the garage that is, I don't know, relaxing. It's fun and it's exciting. But if you're still watching, I love doing these go live videos. It's a really good opportunity for me to answer some questions and share a little bit about what I do and what my plans are, and some how-tos and some good lessons on my fishing things. Tune in tomorrow evening because there's a clam dig, a razor clam dig at the coast this weekend, and I'm going. And so I'm going to go live and show you what I'm getting ready to go clam digging, especially for those who haven't done it or are interested in doing it. It's such an easy and fun thing to do with your family. And so I'm going to show you everything that you need for that. And then Friday, I'm going to show you how to clam dig. I clam dig with a shovel. My boyfriend's going to clam dig with a gun, and so we're going to show you both methods. So I'm going to show you what you need to get ready, how to go clam digging, and then I'm also going to do a go live Sunday morning and show you how to make my famous breakfast clam fritters. They're the best things ever. And I promise you, if you try it, you'll be making it as long as you can get clams, and everyone will be super impressed. It's like the tastiest thing ever. So tomorrow evening, we're getting ready for clam digging. Friday, we're gonna go clam digging, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Sunday morning, I'm gonna make some breakfast with my catch, and then, you know, I might even do a video Saturday afternoon of how to clean clams, because there is like a pro way of doing that. So I will show a little bit of everything there. If there's anything that you want to see or learn about, definitely send me a message, either here, or if you're watching this after I'm no longer live, just shoot me a message and say, hey, I would love to learn a little bit more about how you paint beads, or getting set up for trout fishing this spring, or how you're going to go after spring Chinook, or late winter steelhead, or worms, or this or that, anything. Shoot it my way. I'll make a video. I'm probably going to be out here playing with stuff anyway, so I might as well give you a peek into what I'm doing. All right, thanks you guys so much for popping in, and I look forward to seeing your questions and comments, and join me for clam digging this weekend.